Live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West Texas.
Food at our counties or our local grocery stores is not good. I mean, the produce especially. So we need to change that situation, because when people have fresh, nutrient-dense food, the health benefits rise, and it's good for everyone.
Farmers from Texas and New Mexico made their way to the Martin County Library for the second annual Permian Basin Local Food Summit. Coming up in just a few minutes, we have a recap of today's events. Good evening to you, and thanks for joining us here for CBS7 News at 9 on the CW. And thanks to those of you who are joining us on our CBS7 YouTube page. I'm Jay Hendricks. New tonight here at 9, the House of Representatives has passed Representative August Pfluger's legislation. That's H.R. 7176. It's a bill that reverses the export ban of liquefied natural gas and creates lower energy costs. You may remember last month President Biden announcing a ban on the export of natural gas to non-FTA countries. And while the FTA conducts a climate impact review on natural gas, the White House said the review was due to the, quote, existential threat, end quote, of climate change. The Department of Energy has already done 5 studies that unanimously prove liquefied natural gas exports benefit the U.S. economy and gas prices. Previous studies have even shown that there are environmental benefits.
Since 2016, and especially in the Permian Basin, we've increased our ability to produce LNG. We know it's reliable. We know it's affordable. It has literally become the most important fuel around the world. And there's a strong correlation to pricing, to keep prices at a reasonable level here in the United States when you continue to produce more.
Once again, that bill passed the House and now moves on to the Senate. Staying with gas prices, AAA reporting that gas prices are rising in West Texas and across the state. That's according to a report from AAA. Midland still seeing the most pain at the pump in our area, averaging around $3.09 a gallon. Meanwhile, drivers in Odessa are paying close to $2.97 a gallon. Again, according to AAA, the highest price in the state is El Paso, where drivers are seeing prices at around $3.29 a gallon. Now the average price of gas across the country currently stands at $3.28. Gas is around 13 cents more compared to last year's numbers, and gas prices are up by 12 cents per gallon in Texas compared to this same time a year ago. In state news, Lubbock Congressman Jody Arrington is voicing his support for the state of Texas and Lubbock State Senator Charles Perry and Senate Bill 4. Senate Bill 4, or Perry's Law, would make undocumented immigration into Texas a state crime. The DOJ, though, is suing to stop it from going into effect. In a filing, Arrington says that the state of Texas has the right to defend itself if the federal government fails to.
Texans will not play passive victim to a failed federal government. And secondly, Texans will not ask permission from a derelict commander-in-chief or a secretary of Homeland Security who refuses to enforce the law in order for us to defend our border and protect our people.
This is the second lawsuit filed against the state because of the law. The ACLU has also filed a suit. Back here at home, Ector County has repeatedly taken aim at game rooms over the last few years. Those game rooms are common if you take a trip outside of city limits. However, Judge Dustin Fawcett, his goal is to bar them from operating inside of metropolitan areas. This week, county commissioners decided to hire legal counsel to write rules to ban them within the limits. The commission will draw from the existing boundaries created by the Permian Basin Metropolitan Planning Association. That will include all of the county inside of the loop and all of Gardendale, West Odessa, and Pleasant Farms. Fawcett says the decision is based on public requests and illegal activity at some facilities.
With the organized crime comes drug trafficking, comes human trafficking, and some of these other concerns. Now, is that happening at all of them? No. Is that happening in a majority of the tenants or the participants who go in there? Probably not. A lot of these folks are just regular folks who go in there and spend their time there. But what they don't see is the underbelly of these facilities.
Sheriff Mike Griffiths echoed Fawcett and said the game rooms outweigh any benefits of prosecuting their bad practices because the fines and repercussions don't pay for the manpower to enforce them.
There's not enough consequences for those individuals that are committing those crimes because, I mean, if they get a $4,000 fine, they'll pay that. They'll reopen somewhere else the next day or whatever. I mean, there needs to be harder penalties for those individuals, or let's do away with them.
The goal is to have a rule written in 60 days. If put into place, all game rooms would be removed from metropolitan limits by the following year because game room licenses are renewed on a yearly basis. We're going to get an update on your weather forecast now. It was a beautiful day across West Texas. Will we see more of that, or could changes be on the way? Meteorologist Sawyer McElroy joins us tonight to get us up to date. Sawyer?
Yeah, it was an absolutely gorgeous day. Once again, a little bit more clouds out there, but overall not too much to complain about. Current temperatures across the state starting to cool down, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Current temperatures closer to home, we're seeing those temperatures in the 50s and 60s. 60 in Midland right now, 62 in Odessa, 52 in Marfa, 58 in Presidio, and winds anywhere from about 5 to 15 miles per hour across the region tonight. Looking at our satellite and radar, still dealing with that cloud cover. That mostly cloudy skies will continue through the overnight hours. Overall, we're not going to see those temperatures dropping too much, only into the upper 40s and low 50s for those overnight and early morning lows, so not cooling down too terribly much. For the next 3 days, though, hold on to your hats and glasses because we are going to see a little bit of a temperature roller coaster. Some 60s for tomorrow, some 40s for Saturday, then back into the 60s by Sunday.
Inspired by their grandmother's passion for creating memories through traditions and holiday decorations, Miss Casey's Wonderland has been a staple experience here in the Permian Basin. Now, after nearly 4 decades of ownership, the Bauman sisters have made the decision to pass the torch to the new owners. Just because they're changing ownership doesn't mean the sisters are going anywhere. Kathy and Becky shared that they will still be around and are still currently helping the new owners with the seasonal inventory change. And the sisters say their love for celebrating every occasion has now rubbed off on the new co-owner, Liz Carter.
It's time, for a new generation to come on the scene and take over.
We are super excited about the opportunity. So grateful to Kathy and Becky. They have built an amazing legacy and we've got big shoes to fill.
As a Midland native who grew up visiting Miss Casey's, being part of the store is a dream come true for Carter. She and her co-owner plan to bring up some new and updated looks while keeping the same iconic Miss Casey's look. The Reyes-Mashburn-Nelms Park in Midland is getting some much-needed renovations to their baseball fields by adding a new shade structure. The city has been planning to renovate that park for a long time, and with the hot summer weather around the corner, they say that structure will protect the players and the fans from the Texas heat. Construction is already underway at the park, and the new shade structure will be going and will be game changers once that season officially changes.
Out here in Midland, we know it gets hot, and especially during the summer times and things of that nature, it's very hot. So, to be honest with you, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think we should be building any facilities without any shade structures.
Additionally, 6 new turf baseball fields will also be added to the park, as well as new concession stands and restrooms. All renovations are expected to be completed by next spring at the latest. Farmers across the Permian Basin met this morning in Stanton to hear from their peers about how to grow this industry. Permian Basin Local Food Summit was made so that local farmers can learn from one another while also building new friendships across the area. The event was hosted by Gala Commons to showcase the goal of educating the public about the importance of locally grown food. They operate mostly in the Panhandle and West Texas region and believe fresh, locally grown food is a key to a healthier and economically better life. One of the speakers out of Lubbock says that events like this will benefit local growers for years to come.
We just don't have enough opportunities, honestly, for growers, especially locally, to connect with people that are doing the same work. We often see growers feeling more like competitive with each other when I think there's a lot more opportunities they could collaborate. So it's really neat to get to these opportunities like this.
Many of the growers got the opportunity to have a lunch which was made mostly from locally grown food. If you're into the arts, particularly poetry, listen up. The Lone Star Cowboy Poetry Gathering is this weekend in Alpine. It kicked off today and brings thousands of cowboy poets, musicians, and enthusiasts to Sul Ross State University in Alpine to listen and learn from each other and celebrate life in the West. For one board member, gatherings like this a good way to meet people from all walks of life and remember Western cowboy heritage while looking to the future.
Oftentimes in a show, you'll have a poet and a musician paired up together, or 4 or 5 of them, and they just kind of work off one another. There's nothing really scripted about it. So you can go from maybe a familiar tune that's over 100 years old to an original.
Over the next 3 days, there will be 7 ticketed shows and 35 free shows at Sul Ross. Tickets range from $5 to $50 depending on the show. We have a link with all the information up on our website. Just go to CBS7.com. Also this weekend, the Ray Alana's 20th consignment event is happening this weekend and next week as well. As you can see, the Midland County Horseshoe is filled with new and gently used kids' clothing, toys, strollers, and much more. Anything that doesn't get sold is then given to local foster families.
To be able to sell things and make money and then come shop affordably was just a really wise way to provide for your family. There's no reason to go buy it new and pay retail when you can come get the same quality for a fraction of the cost.
Ray Alana's is open to the public starting on Sunday. Half-price days for pass holders is on Monday, and then for the public on Tuesday, and free shopping for foster families is next Thursday. The number of people flying out of Midland International Air and Spaceport is breaking records. In fact, more than 47,000 passengers flew out of Midland in January alone. That's according to city officials. That's a 10% increase compared to last year's numbers. Southwest has accounted for a 48% increase of those passengers, flying 21,000 people out of the city. The city also says that it's not the only increase they have seen. Parking revenue at the airport has also increased by almost 19% compared to January of last year. Now for a look at today's top headlines shown here in real time with real viewers at CBS7.com. You can see all of these stories and more by downloading our app or visiting our website at CBS7.com. Still ahead, the high-stakes presidential election intensifies for Democrats who are now facing an uncertain path to holding power in the Senate. We have the details next here on CBS 7 News at 9 on the CW. There is a battle for Senate control brewing in the 2024 election. Democrats are dealing with an uncertain path to keeping power in the chamber with tough incumbent races and new viable Republican candidates in the mix. Our Washington correspondent Julia Benbrook has the latest developments and details on the challenges that both parties face.
A potential Republican shakeup in the deep blue state of Maryland. On the day of the primary filing deadline, former Governor Larry Hogan entered the race to replace retiring Maryland Democratic Senator Ben Cardin.
I decided to run to kind of stand up and fight for the people of Maryland and fight against the broken politics in Washington.
Hogan was a popular Republican governor known for his moderate record. Although Maryland is a deep blue state, Hogan's campaign gives Republicans a strong candidate as the GOP attempts to flip the seat. A surprise in any race would impact the entire battle for control of the Senate, with Democrats holding a one-seat advantage and incumbents already on defense in several Republican-leaning states, like Montana and Ohio.
Personally, this is not a burning desire to go be a senator or to go down there and argue with people all day. I'm only doing it because I think I have a unique voice and perspective.
Democratic Senator Joe Manchin's decision not to run for re-election in West Virginia underscores the open 2024 playing field. His state has long been ranked as the seat most likely to flip.
I have come to the conclusion we're not going to fix the political posturing in Washington, here in Congress, from Washington. It'll be fixed from outside of Washington.
The GOP would only need to pick up 1 or 2 seats, depending on who wins the White House, in order to flip control of the Senate. The 3 final seats Democrats hold in states where Donald Trump won in 2020 are among those up for grabs this fall. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Well, it was another pleasant day across the region, but we are going to see some changes on the way for our Friday. And as we head into the weekend, I'll have all the details and what to expect coming up in just a few minutes.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's meteorologist Sawyer McElroy.
Happy Thursday, everybody. It was another pleasant day out there for our Thursday. We had a little bit more cloud cover, but that really didn't do too much to those temperatures. Our observed highs today across the state, 60s, 70s, and some areas even pushing those 80s. Closer to home, we saw those highs in the 60s and 70s as well, got up to 72 in Midland and Odessa, 75 in Fort Stockton, 66 in Marfa. A little bit cooler the further south you went because we had a little bit thicker cloud cover out there today. Current temperatures not too bad. Still seeing those temperatures in the 50s and 60s. 60 degrees currently in Midland, 62 in Odessa, down to 52 in Marfa, but still overall not too bad for us tonight. Those winds anywhere from about 5 to 15 miles per hour, just a light breeze for us. And looking at our satellite and radar, just dealing with those clouds out there tonight. Those clouds are going to be sticking around through the overnight hours and into our Friday. And tracking that out on Futurecast, we are going to see a little bit of clearing as we head throughout the day Friday, but overall looking to see partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies once again. But as we get to tomorrow evening, could see some clearing across the region, but overall going to see more clouds than sunshine for our Friday once again. Now we do have a cold front rolling through the area tomorrow by about 10:30, starting to push into the northern region. Northern portions of the region, then continuing to make its way to the southwest as we head throughout the day, hitting the Midland Odessa area by the late afternoon and into the evening hours, and then continuing to make its way to the southwest, pushing into Mexico by late tomorrow night. For our Friday, it's going to be a mild day. We are going to see those temperatures cooler as we have that front rolling through, but still going to be mild and pleasant. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Like I said, partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies throughout the day. A little bit of clearing possible as we get through the evening hours of tomorrow, but overall looking to be another pleasant day for our Friday. For our CBS7 First Alert exclusive 10-day forecast, we actually are going to see those kind of big changes on the backside of that cold front on Saturday, with temperatures down into the 40s. Chilly temperatures for the start of the weekend. However, we are going to see them rebound nicely as we head into our Sunday. Temperatures back into the 60s. And then look at this as we get into the new week, 70s on Monday for our President's Day. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, look at those high temperatures into the 80s. Quiet forecast though, not expecting any precipitation throughout the extended forecast. Definitely going to be feeling a little bit spring-like for the new week.
Still ahead, while there are chilly temperatures and fresh snow on the ground for some across the U.S., the spring home buying and selling season is already kicking off. We have that story in your consumer news next here at 9. Even though in some parts of the country it's hardly feeling like spring, we can relate to that. We've now entered spring's peak in home buying and selling season. When home sales start ticking up in March and April, it's usually the result of people starting to make their moves now. We're going to get an update now as Ivan Rodriguez breaks down what you need to know if you're planning to be in the market this year.
The home buying season is already upon us, and experts say if you're in the market, don't wait around too long for better prices or rates.
It's always a difficult call in terms of timing. As a consumer, just be on the lookout. If a right home within the right budget shows up, maybe go for it.
Mortgage rates are down from their highs last fall, hovering around 6.6% since December, resulting in less uncertainty and improving affordability for home buyers. In fact, homeowner optimism is at its highest level since March of 2022, according to a survey by Fannie Mae.
This year, more inventory will be showing on the market. That's definitely good for consumers seeing more choices.
If you're planning to buy this spring, experts suggest building a home buying team consisting of an agent, lender, and even a title company, because each part is crucial in what can be a complicated multi-month process.
The home buying process is not a simple decision.
Agents also advise people to search for homes knowing what their conservative monthly payment is, making it easier to move other variables like price, location, or condition of a house in order to have the best chances to buy the home. The key, experts say, is be flexible and have your financial house ready to go.
You want to show that you have the financial capacity, and getting that mortgage approved letter certainly demonstrates the financial capacity to make the move.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
All right, before we go, a final check of our CBS7 First Alert exclusive 10-day forecast. Tomorrow's still going to be a mild day, a little bit of cloud cover. We are going to see a little bit of clearing as we head throughout the day into the evening. We do have a cold front making its way through the area, so we are going to see the changes from that on Saturday with temperatures into the 40s and 50s. Going to be a little bit of a chilly start to the weekend, but we are going to see those conditions rebounding nicely for the second half of the weekend, back into the 60s, then 70s, then 80s as we get into the middle of the upcoming week. So definitely going to feel spring-like out there. Great for that spring training.
Yeah.
The spring training season for baseball. So definitely going to feel like it.
All right, just get through the 40s. We'll be okay. Thanks for watching here at 9 on the CW. More news coming up tonight at 10.